What's going on, everybody? My name is CD, and today we're going to talk about the Zombies Mastery Camo Dark Aether. So in my last video was kind of the culmination of all of the gold gun and diamond gun videos in multiplayer for DM Ultra, and on that DM Ultra grind, I was also able to unlock Dark Aether in Zombies. In my opinion, Dark Aether is a little bit easier, a lot less stressful than going for DM Ultra, as you are obviously playing against AI, you're playing against zombies instead of other players, and in a game with skill-based matchmaking, that's just how it is. But if you are interested in going for DM Ultra, I think it's a great opportunity for you to also unlock Dark Aether, or at least get a really good jump on it. Zombies was the best by far when I was tired of multiplayer, ready to play something else, and I needed to level up weapons. Whether this was during a double weapon XP weekend or not, I found that it was a consistent, steady, and much more relaxing way to level up all the guns in Black Ops Cold War. But there were some consistencies with how I went about unlocking this. Obviously, I do only have the one map Die Machine right now, and we are getting that second zombie map coming out here soon, so maybe at that point there'll be a better or an easier way to do this. But I'll go through and kind of show you guys my strategy for quickly leveling up all these guns and the attachments that I would usually use for it. So really, no matter what weapon I was using, this was what I was keeping in mind while putting on my attachments. For the optic, that is really personal preference. I think I would usually use the Millstop Reflex or the Microflex LED on the M16 that I randomly chose here. I'm using the Vision Tech 2x sight, just because I don't really like the other smaller red dots. So that's just what I went with, but this is 100% personal preference. Next up, for the muzzle, really what I'm looking at here is the pros and cons. Obviously, we don't care so much about like a suppressor not being on the minimap. This is zombies. So what you see mostly is increased equipment drop rate and vertical recoil. So the increased equipment drop rate is like the grenades, monkey bombs, tomahawks, all that stuff that can drop from a dead zombie. And in my time playing, you get a lot of that to drop normally, so I didn't really see the need for an increased equipment drop rate, which is why I just threw on the muzzle brake 5.56 in this case. But for most other weapons, it's going to be that first muzzle. It'll give you a little bit of vertical recoil control with absolutely no cons. Next up, for the barrel, what you're going to be seeing here is a lot of fire rates, damage, as well as armor damage. Now I know that the last barrel here with that plus damage is, a little bit intriguing. You want your weapon to have a little bit more damage while playing zombies, and if that interests you, go for it. Maybe here on the M16 it's a bad example because the cons are vertical and horizontal recoil, and with a burst rifle that doesn't really matter. But for most rifles, that could actually make the gun like almost unusable in zombies, and I don't know that that plus 14% damage is really worth it, as you're going to be pack punching your gun 1, 2, 3 times more than likely. So what I do here is I actually go with the second barrel, whichever one just gives you that plus armor damage. That'll help you against those armored zombies in the later rounds, and you have absolutely no cons. For the body, what you're going to be seeing here is a lot of hipfire accuracy as well as increased salvage drop rate. So the equipment drop rate we already talked about. Salvage drop rate is the green and blue little boxes from a dead zombie, and this is very valuable. So any increased salvage that you can get to level up your weapon in a game of zombies will help you out a ton. So again, along the same lines as the other attachments, I'm looking for something here that'll help us out with absolutely no cons, and that mounted flashlight will do it. And I believe for any weapon, there is a similar body attachment. It might not be called the exact same thing, but it'll have an increased salvage drop rate with no cons. For the underbarrel in multiplayer, this is where I would probably go with like the field agent grip to help with the recoil. But here in zombies, we're not really worried that much about recoil, so I always go with the 5.55 movement grip, whatever it may be called. In this case, for the M16, it's the infiltrator grip. So you get the movement speed, shooting move speed, and aim walking movement speed. The magazine, pretty easy here. You're going to want to use the biggest magazine that you have. This is zombies. We want as much ammo as possible. So here for the M16, for instance, we have the Salvo 54 round fast mag. And then the last two, the handle and the stock, I never really found something that I was super comfortable with. So similar to the other ones, I'm just using the speed tape here. The first one that you get, because it has no cons, it does help a little bit with your ADS time, where all the other ones have some sort of pretty negative con. So I'm just sticking with the speed tape. If you guys have another one you enjoy more, go with that. Same thing here with the stock. I'm using the wire stock, which is a little bit sprint to fire time, absolutely no cons, where most of the other ones actually hurt like your hip fire accuracy, which is needed while playing zombies. Also, on most of my classes, I definitely went with Aether Shroud. Helped me out too many times, too many to even count, where I was backed myself into a corner. Whether you're playing solo or even with friends, I think Aether Shroud is definitely the best field upgrade. Now, in my actual zombies games, what I would basically do, stay in the spawn till around round 8, 9, 10, depending on what weapon you're using. Like if you're using the snipers or a knife, or I don't know, something more difficult, maybe you need to leave the spawn earlier. But around round 8, 9, 10, that's when I would leave the spawn and try to go straight down to power. On my way, I may try to grab 2 of the 3 perks up on that main level, Quick Revive and Stamina Up. And I'm not putting Juggernaut in there because if you guys know how to do the Dancing Coffin Easter egg, you can actually get Juggernaut for free. I'm not going to go too far in depth on that Easter egg here in this video, but I'm sure there's a million YouTube videos out there for that. And then after that, you basically have 2 different spots, in my opinion, that are the best training spots. One is back in the spawn. That's the biggest, most open train you can run, probably the easiest. That one, there's many ways to do it. You can even do it backwards. It doesn't really matter the direction you're going. And in my opinion, if you are going back to the spawn, do not open the green door by the workbench. It'll help you out a little bit. You won't have as many zombies coming up behind you when you turn around for your train. But my personal favorite, and one that I felt went by a little bit quicker, was actually standing down below Pack-a-Punch in this corner that you guys can see right here. You can basically look straight ahead and the zombies will line up in front of you. You will have some zombies coming from your right as there's a window right there, but it's a pretty easy spot and a pretty quick spot to get through the levels. Now, yes, you're obviously not gonna be able to stand there the entire time, so there is a little bit of strategy in running that circle actually around the Pack-a-Punch machine. But in most of my time, even if it looks like you're going to be stuck, there's always a way to backtrack, get around the zombies down there. It's actually a bigger area than it seems. It is just a little bit dark. Obviously, throughout the rounds, as I would get money, I would get the rest of the perks except Elemental Pop, the pink one. As from what I've heard, it actually can take away some of your headshots, some of your kills. And then in the game, it's just a waste of what, like $5,000, $4,500. Also, if you are running that train that I was talking about below Pack-a-Punch, you're obviously very close to Pack-a-Punch, upgrading your weapon throughout your gameplay, as well as close to the armor machine. That way, in between rounds, if you are struggling, you can replenish your armor, as well as level up your weapon to gold if you get that much scrap. I would usually try playing a game up to about rounds 30, 31, 32, somewhere around there. That's where the zombies start to get a little bit too tough, and I think it's just worth dying and restarting to getting more kills, more headshots, more elite kills, all that stuff. So as I mentioned previously, Dark Aether, it is really just a grind, where DM Ultra was more frustrating and annoying. Dark Aether, you're just trying to get a lot of kills with each weapon, and it really is just a slow grind that if you can do DM Ultra and Dark Aether together, I think it's much easier and a little bit more interesting to do. One other tip, if you guys are on PS4, I know that's the only console right now with the onslaught mode, but if you are on PS4 or PS5 and you need some of the elite eliminations, that was where I found it was much easier, much quicker to get elite eliminations through the onslaught mode. If you guys do have any Dark Aether challenge questions, you can put them in the comments down below. Or if you guys want me to make a specific video on any of the camos and how I did it or the fastest ways to do it, let me know. If you guys did enjoy the video, click that like button down below. So if you guys haven't already, and we'll see you guys later.